away.
So the first question, the main one, I guess, is how do you think the Hollywood market observes Latin artists? I feel like there is a box, like everybody fits in Latin. If we are like from the South America, we are all Latins. Even
Mhm.
though like only Brazil is already a huge country, have so many different cultures there, like accents, everything, way of expressing ourselves. But we are Latins. So I don't know if we are all in the same box, and if that's truth, how like the Hollywood market opens the door for Latins artists and mainly actors.
Yeah, well, the Latin community is has grown substantially over the past couple of years. So today, there's a lot more opportunities, a lot more jobs, a lot more I guess, a lot more need for the Latin community, regardless of the country. So specifically, Spain and Mexico have been the top two, contenders, the biggest market share for the Hispanic community. But there have been a lot of roles in Hollywood seeking Portuguese speaking talent, a lot from Brazil seeking authenticity. So authentic people from Brazil, not just Los Angeles actors who can play Brazilian, but they are seeking, international talent to fill those roles. Now, I will say, just because of COVID, it has been a lot more constricted. So they're not
Mm-hmm.
really open to outside talent. And when I say outside talent, I just mean they're not open to outside of the United States just for the travel issues, all that
Mm-hmm.
kind of stuff. But once COVID clears up, I'm sure it'll go back to normal. And how it was pre-COVID, they were always open to seeking fresh faces from, places like Brazil, places like Spain. Netflix and all the other streaming services have done a really good job to
Mm-hmm.
diversify and be open to receiving talent from all over the world.
Oh, that's fantastic. How do you guys usually seek for these artists, the outside artists? Do you go for the agencies in their countries, or can we reach out to you guys, like being outside of the country?
Yeah, so it depends on the company. So for us, and I think for honestly, for many agencies and management companies here in Los Angeles, even New York as well, I think most companies prefer the talent to be in the country. If
Mm-hmm.
they're not in the country, then they would either need to be able to get into the country, or yeah, that's pretty much it. Otherwise, it's going to be very challenging to work with someone who is not physically in Los Angeles or
Mm-hmm.
New York. Now, there is a small exception for like the bigger agencies like CAA, WME, who do have international offices. I don't know if they have an office in or satellite office in Brazil, but they do have offices in London, China, Sweden, Germany, so all other countries. So those are the bigger agencies. Those would be probably a little bit more receptive to bringing on talent that are outside the United States. But for the most part, most agencies, they're not going to bring on new talent with no credits unless you are
Mm-hmm.
physically in Los Angeles. So that's
Oh,
unfortunate.
that is very interesting. And by being able to be physically here, you mean like having a tourist visa or a work permit?
Work visa would be great. O1 visa, as long as you can just work. Some companies
Mm-hmm.
sponsor their talent. So we have a lot of actors from Canada that come here often, and they are able to secure a work permit or are able to get sponsored by their management company or their agency, and that's how they're able to work here. So
Mm-hmm.
for Canadians, it's been really easy, and they're right above us, above the border. So it's pretty easy for them to get over here. Now they're just a drive away. You guys would have to fly in and make accommodations, all that kind of stuff. But once you're here, as long you don't have to be like a U.S. citizen or anything like that. There are some projects that do require you being a U.S. citizen, but there are also a lot of projects that don't require that. All you need is just a work visa or a green card, one of those things.
Uh-huh. That's fantastic. Thank you so much. I'm very glad to hear that. Like
Sure.
it's becoming easier. And what do you think is the most challenge or the biggest challenges that we face as foreigners? Like, for example, the accent and the work permit for sure. But besides of that, like being able to get a role, is there too many stereotypes? What do you think are the most common challenges?
Well, the most common challenge, I mean, you said it, the accent is probably the biggest challenge. If you're
Mm-hmm.
able to turn off the accent and do a traditional standard American accent, then you're solid, you're good to go. But there's a lot of people, even from, the UK or Australia, that just can't seem to turn their accent off. So they try their best, but you can still hear a hint of it. So casting directors, obviously, they're trained and their ears are trained. We're not trained in it, but we hear actors every single day, so we can pick it up. And we all grew up here too, so we're pretty sensitive to the American accent. So that would be probably the number one priority, is to make sure that you can easily switch on and off between your accents. Even internally, domestically here in America, we have a lot of talent from like Boston and the New York area, and they have a specific accent with their speech. And some people who are born and raised in those regions of the country, even the southern United States, where they have the southern drawl, some people can't turn that off either. So even domestically here, that's a big issue a lot of people face here in Hollywood. Obviously, there are roles that require that accent, but typically majority of the projects here that are casting in Los Angeles and New York do require just a neutral standard American accent. So that would be probably the biggest challenge, I would say, physically. Now, stereotypically, yes, not really so much today, just because of the whole inclusivity and the industry sensitivity to like, race and gender and all that kind of stuff. It's less prominent now, but there are some like roles and projects that do hover on the stereotypical stuff. For Brazil, I haven't seen any stereotypical Brazilian roles out there, honestly. The stereotypes really play to the Indian 7-Eleven store owner, with a heavy accent, the gas station owner Indian, or the really Asian foreign maid, or the nail salon lady, the Asian nail salon ladies, or like the black thug, the really just the old school stereotypes. But other than that, I wouldn't be worried. If I'm, from Brazil, I would not be worried about being stereotyped.
Oh, that's interesting. Thank you. And how do you see like the pandemic and the internet boom affecting the Hollywood productions now? What is the future? How do you see that?
Well, the first couple months were a disaster just because everything shut down. Now things are a lot better. And by a lot, I mean a lot better. Productions have a protocol in place now where they have to COVID test every cast member, every crew member, I think pretty much daily if you are on set. And they have a COVID compliance officer. It's a new position they have to fill now, where it's just a person on set who has to monitor COVID, safety procedures. There's less giant crowded scenes, so like less, scenes in like a concert. All the scenes that are being written for these TV shows, commercials, and movies are like smaller, more intimate scenes. Maybe only like 10 people max in a scene. I think as more people get vaccinated and as COVID starts to, decrease even further, things will definitely go back to normal, and there'll be a lot more larger crowded roles out there and larger scenes out there. But right now it's looking good. Casting is still casting as usual. These TV shows are back on track. Film is still filming. The good thing about film is that they kind of scattered across the world now. So usually it was either New York, Atlanta, or Los Angeles. Now you see filming, outspread in many parts of the country, out of the country, a lot going on in Canada, Mexico. I don't think any in Brazil at the moment, just because the numbers there are pretty high.
I know.
But yeah, so that's the beauty of it. Things are back to normal, and it's looking good for now.
And what do you think? I feel like because of the internet, we can now create our own content and like web series, whatever that we can do, like TikTok, for example. How do you see that? Do you empower actors to create their own content? Is there a possibility for getting jobs or being seen? Do you have any advices on that?
Yeah, so my personal take is you definitely should just keep the creative mind stimulated. If you're not working or if you're not in class right now, all the acting classes are virtual. So some people like it, some people benefit from it, but some people don't benefit just because, some acting classes, you really can only learn from it if it's in real, physically in person. Other than that, it's really hard to learn virtually for some people. So if that's the case for you, then I definitely suggest you create your own content. There are some people that have obviously blown up through TikTok and through, Instagram, Snapchat. I think that those are the main three. And they were able to secure, a big following and get some sponsorships, here and there. Now, when it comes to Hollywood, honestly, it doesn't really matter if you have a following or not, if you have social media or not, with a few exceptions. So there's some commercials that will hire you based on if you have like 100,000 followers on TikTok or 100,000 on Instagram. But those are only a few commercials. And that makes sense because commercials, you're advertising a product. So you want to be able to have people that have a big base to get your product out there. For some TV shows, actually, I don't even want to say some because I would say probably no TV shows, no film. They don't really care if you have a following or not. There's some like new media projects. It's labeled as new media nowadays. And those are the new media projects that are being released on like Instagram Live or Facebook. Facebook Watch, YouTube Red, YouTube Premium. So those projects that are released on those platforms, those smaller internet platforms, they will probably seek the influencers or micro influencers or people that just have, a following. But for the mainstream TV shows, mainstream feature films, they do not care if you have a following or not.
No, that's interesting because in Brazil it became a big deal. And now,
Oh, well, yeah.
So
Some people really stress over building a following and they spend a lot of time building content. It's always good to build content. It's not going to hurt you. But if your career goal is to be an actor in this industry, like a renowned actor in this industry, then I would not put so much focus into the social media aspect.
Yeah, that's a relief. Thank you so much for telling us this.
Sure.
And
yeah.
What make you want to represent an actor, and what does not make you want to represent an actor?
It's case by case. Every actor is different. My reasons for wanting to represent one actor differs from my reasons to represent another actor. It basically comes down to, I guess, a couple variables. So obviously the look. If you just have a good look, then that's probably number one is your look. Because the first thing we see is your headshots. The first thing casting directors will see is your headshots. That's just the biggest thing is your look. It's very superficial, but that's just how the industry is. There's a lot of untalented people who have gotten jobs based off their look. They're not good actors. They don't have good talent. They don't have any talent, but because of their look, they got the job. So look is a big thing. Talent is obviously one thing. There's some agencies that will only hire just the good-looking people, the models, the soap opera actors, and that's their niche. That's totally fine. There's no right or wrong for that. But obviously, talent, goes the longer way. If you have a talented actor, they could really pop off and have a 20-year career. If you're just a really good-looking person, you could probably only have a 5-year career or less. So those are probably the two biggest things, talent and luck. And I guess the thing that would make me not want to represent somebody is if they just don't have a good personality. They could be very talented and they might have a good look, but if they're very hard to work with, and by that I mean they have a very arrogant personality, or they're shady, they don't have good communication skills, they're not honest, they're not transparent, just stuff like that. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much the only reason why I would not want to work with the talent. If I see that they're probably going to be a lot to handle and I can't handle that at a time, maybe because I have, a full roster, or if I have a lot of needy clients already, then I probably won't take someone on. That's another reason too. So basically, if you're just a good human being and you just communicate normally, you're not too annoying, you're not too needy, you're not too crazy, then I'm pretty sure a lot of agents and managers will want to work with you.
And what advice would you give to people that are outside of the country but want to chase the Hollywood career, the Hollywood market?
I'd say start training from home. So wherever you are in the country or in the world, start taking acting classes. There's acting classes everywhere, almost everywhere in the world. More than sure they have a lot in Brazil as well. So definitely start training in your home country first. Once you gain some traction and some training and some experience, then I would consider making the move out here to the States.
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge for us is the work permit. But as you said, some companies, they sponsor actors. Even it's still tough. That's a possibility for sure. And in Brazil, we don't really have managers. We have like agents and agencies. So would you mind explaining exactly what a manager does and what is the main difference between managers and agents?
Yeah, so managers, actually, I think Los Angeles and New York are the only places in the world that have managers.
Oh, interesting.
Everywhere, England does not have, yeah, the UK does not have managers, Australia, Canada. Canada, they have some, but managers are primarily in Los Angeles and New York. So the main key difference between the two is managers are supposed to be more career oriented, more long-term, more guidance, more hands-on, more interpersonal. So back in the day, if you were a fresh actor out of college or out of a conservatory, you would, move to Los Angeles or New York or Atlanta or Chicago, and you would find yourself a manager. That manager would help you connect with casting directors, producers. That manager would help you get an agent, refer you to photographers, refer you to, acting coaches, and really help your career going. And they're pretty much, with you every step of the way. And they do help get you opportunities from time to time. And they do help you with the career aspect in terms of like life coaching and, just career advice in general. That's how it was back in the day. Today, a lot of managers act like agents, and we pretty much have the same exact job. There are a couple of differences in terms of like the California law, and I'm not going to get into that because it's going to confuse everybody. But the main difference nowadays is not much. So my job as a manager is not too different from what a Los Angeles agent will do. At the end of the day, we're doing the same job. We're on the breakdown, submitting and pitching you guys to our buyers, to the casting directors, trying to get you guys as many opportunities and many auditions as possible. That's our primary goal at the end of the day, every single day of the week. Agents will do the same thing. So we work side by side. So essentially, you do have two agents working for you on the same team. Now today, like I said, you have a lot of managers acting like agents. We're one of them as well. We're pretty aggressive in terms of getting people auditions and getting them opportunities, but we still have the interpersonal aspect. We still have time to, handhold our clients who need developing. We still have time to develop clients. Agents, they have hundreds and thousands of clients that, sometimes they don't have time to answer a simple question on a Monday afternoon. They don't have time to, pick up the phone and have a 2-minute conversation. Sometimes they don't have enough to just know beyond the first and last name of their client. Managers have a lot smaller clients. That's probably the biggest difference, I would say, actually.
By developing a client, what do you mean exactly?
So clients who are in the developmental phase are clients who are just brand new to the industry, have very few professional credits. So maybe they might have 1 or 2 television credits, network studio television credits, or 1 or 2 films, but they're still developmental because they don't have many credits. So that's what I mean. Those type of clients require a lot more energy just because you have to pitch them harder. You really have to get them out there, get them exposed more. Clients and actors that do have a lot of credits already, it's a lot easier. It's a lot smoother. All you got to be, if I had Brad Pitt on my roster, I'd just be like, oh, this is Brad Pitt, which, he has like 10 scripts flying at him every single day. So it's a lot easier as we get up there. But for someone who has no credits, it's a lot more challenging to get them out there. Now, the reason why managers like representing talent of that level is because it is very rewarding to see someone, come out of the blue, out of nowhere with no credits, and then watch them progress and watch them grow and develop into a well-known and more mature actor.
And how many cases did you have like this, that you developed the career and now it's like known actors?
There's more failures than successes, honestly. It's tough. The worst part about this industry is that it's not a fair industry. It's just not fair. You can have a very, very talented actor on your or actress on your roster, and nothing can happen for them ever. Or you could have, you know, someone that just gets very lucky and they book the first couple auditions, and you know they're well on their way. They're at bigger agencies now. They booked a lot of TV shows and credits. So there definitely are a lot more failures, I would say. But you know, the ones that do become successful, you know, again, the reward definitely outweighs the failures. So
yeah, I feel like networking is a very important like skill and a very important part of the process.
100%.
Right?
I think you cannot survive in this industry without having relationships. The reason why I got my jobs, even on my side of the screen, you know, behind the screen, I got most of my jobs through relationships. So it's not just actors that have to network, it's pretty much the entire entertainment industry. All you got to do is just know at least, you know, one person could change the life for you. One person could know someone who could know someone who could know someone. And, you know,
and I have a personal question, if you don't mind. I know like our time is running out.
No, you're totally fine. Yeah, I still have some more time, so you're good.
Okay, let me know, please, when you have to leave, because I'm so happy already with everything.
Yeah. I can give you about 10 more minutes, so 3:35.
That's great.
Perfect.
So I saw in your website you guys represent not only actors but also writers, singers. So for writers, let's say people that are outside of the country, but you should mainly basically now they're now like rooms for writing because of COVID and stuff like that. Do you think it's easier to be represented being outside of the country, being a writer? Is that possible, or do you still need a work permit, or can like we send projects and you guys can, if you like it? I don't know if you guys get projects to read and we like this.
So that's actually, unfortunately, I can't help you in that department because that's a separate department. I'm only on the talent side, and the scripts and the screenwriting, that's on the literary side. I'm not in that department at the moment, just because it's a whole nother beast. It's a whole nother animal. So hopefully I can connect you with another manager in our company that can better answer
that would
that
be
question.
awesome.
Because I honestly, I don't know anything about the screenwriting, so I don't want to give you any wrong information.
No, that's okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And Danilo, he asked me something about if there is a specific agents or agencies or managers that work with Latin people, like a specific type of, I don't know, looking or something like that for Latins.
I think there's one agency that I definitely know works primarily with the Latin community. I think they're called I'll send it to you. I'll text it to you afterwards. I just can't. Oh, El Alvarado, something like that. They're based here in Los Angeles, but they have a roster of about, I think, 200 clients who are all Latin.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. But pretty much, you don't necessarily need to be with an agency that specializes in that community. That's only one specific agency. There's like hundreds of agencies here in Los Angeles, and every agency is trying to diversify their roster. So Latin is definitely in right now. A lot of agents trying to get a lot of Latin talent. So the demand for the Latin community is very strong right now.
Yeah, the Hispanic community here is so big in the United States. So I can see like people need to feel represented. So that's why I think so. This number is growing. Also, that the thing you said about Hollywood opening the doors and being more conscious and sensitive, that also helps a lot for sure. And how does an actor do to get a manager? What does an actor need to do?
So there's a couple of different ways to get, and this just goes for manager or agent, so any kind of representation. So typically here in Los Angeles, if you were living in Los Angeles, you could do a showcase. So to do a showcase, you either have to be in an acting class that does a showcase at the end of the course, or you can audition for like a major showcase. So there's a couple showcases that are just really well known in the industry, like the ABC showcase, NBC. These are network showcases. So actors actually have to audition. It's a very grueling process. I think, thousands of actors audition for it for like 6 spots. So that's one way. There's a lot of smaller workshops and showcases as well that you can just get in front of a small handful of agents and managers. And but another way to do it is just through blank submissions. So if you just go on to any agency or management company's website, they usually have like a representation form, and you just submit your material. So your headshots, your resume, any acting clips you have, any reels you have. That's one way. Or if you have, IMDb Pro? So if you have IMDb Pro, if you have the Pro version, not the basic version, if you have IMDb Pro, you're able to search agents and managers, and it gives you a list of every agency and management company, I think, in the world. And a lot of those companies have their emails on it, the agents' emails and the managers' emails. So you can honestly just email them and just send your materials directly to their email. You're probably not going to get a response. It might just go straight to the junk or straight to the trash. But I mean, that's the worst case scenario. You know what I mean? I've actually took on a lot of talent that I've done that. So
wow, that's
yeah.
awesome.
So it just depends on the company. Some companies, they will accept it if they have time. We're one of them. If I just have, a free hour, I'll go through the submissions and I'll just take a quick peek. Or if it's like late at night after work, or if I'm on my coffee break, I'll go ahead and just look at a couple emails that are submissions. Obviously, we can't go through every single one because that would just be very time consuming. And not every agency or management company does that. Some companies are referral based only, which means you would need to have a referral from either a current client of theirs or just someone else well known in the industry. So again, the relationships. Referrals are probably the best way, honestly, just in general. I have a lot of my current clients who refer actors over to me, and it's not a guaranteed yes, but at least it boosts, it pushes them up to the top of the list. So I will definitely at least take a look at them.
And my last question would be, so in LA and New York, I think it's an advantage because if you can have an agent and a manager, you have two people representing you and looking for jobs, and right? So that's like you have double. So you are in advantage, right? Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah. So the benefit of having an agent and a manager is that, yes, you have two sets of teams looking out for you, two sets of teams fighting for you and pitching you and getting your name out there. 99% of the time, they're going to be submitting and pitching you on the same projects. And most of the time, probably on the same exact role of that project. So if it's an episode of, NCIS, detective, both the agent and manager will probably pitch you to that same role. Now, the benefit of that is maybe the agent has a better relationship with that casting office and the manager does not, or, vice versa, or the manager can send a better pitch than the agent does. So that's probably what gets the actor through the door. Now, the downside to having multiple people on your team, and this is only going to hurt the actor, is the commission. So at the end of the day, if you book the job, you are losing out on more money because 10% to the agent, 10% to the manager. And then for those of you in Brazil, tax here in the United States is like 30%. So if you have, let's say, a $10,000 paycheck from a job, $1,000 goes to your agent, $1,000 to your manager, and then maybe like $3,000 to tax. So you're walking out with $5,000 when you originally had $10,000. So just keep that in mind. The more people you have fighting for you, the more money you cut out. Now, I will say your agents and managers are working for you for free until you book a job. So you're not paying them until you actually book a job. So every single day that you're not working on a TV set or a film set, they are working for free. We are working for free.
So actors that have no credits, they are able to get agents and managers, right?
Yeah. And not most companies. Some companies will take on, again, developmental talent. Some companies will take them on. A lot of the bigger agencies don't even want to bother with newer talent just because they have a lot of like the A-list stars that they have to worry about and they have to give attention to, and they can't, spread their attention to, new talent who do require a lot of hand-holding and a lot of attention.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm so appreciated. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, time went by fast. Wow. Yeah, I hope I was able to answer all the questions.